Welcome back to another Animal Outtakes. This week we're taking a trip down memory lane to revisit some of our favorite moments from Animal Outtakes.
Hey, if you trip on memory lane, do you remember that then? Yeah, you remember to be more careful on memory lane.
I have no idea what they're talking about, but anyway, that's why we're in this time machine that Lou built.
Built? I didn't say I built it. I got it from a guy on Craigslist. It was either this or a slightly used pair of green pants. And who would want that? I know, right? Nobody. So anyway, I opted for the time machine in his basement.
Lou, you do know how to use this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, since the show began, we've talked about dogs and cats, sea turtles, and birds of all feathers.
I love when she talks about feathers. I wonder what this button here does. Yow, that one hurts.
And we've been hugged by chimpanzees and kissed by elephants.
And the chimp still calls her.
Okay, Lou, take us back in time to one of our favorite shows.
Do you know how to work this thing? Well, she seems to think so. Okay, Masha, what show shall we travel back to?
Well, let's start with the very small, very curious bird found only in Florida, the scrub jay.
Scrub Jay episode, here we come.
In southern Sarasota County, at a state park surrounded by development, there lives a unique bird.
Tony, we're out here early in the morning at Oscar Sheriff Park. Tell us about that little guy up there.
Well, what you're seeing up here is the Florida scrub jay. And the Florida scrub jay is very unique to Florida. In fact, you won't find the Florida scrub jay in any other state but Florida. So it's the only bird that you'll only find in Florida, and that's what makes it so unique.
Tony Clements is the park manager for Oscar Sheriff State Park. 28 Florida scrub jays call the 1,400-acre park home. These birds live in family groups and actually help each other out with taking care of their young.
Family groups, they are cooperative breeders, which means that they stay in those general areas, but when they're young, stick around for several years and help raise more young, but then those young will eventually look for more territory.
That territory is somewhat hard to come by, though. You see, scrub jays are very particular about where they will live.
All right. Now, this area in here, you have explained, Tony, that this is excellent area. What makes this a good area for the scrub jays?
Well, basically what makes this zone behind us a good area for the scrub jays is you'll notice that there's a lot of those oak trees. Now, their main food source is the acorns on these oak trees. And you'll notice if you were to walk up in there, you'll see a lot of bare sandy patches. Typically you want with the scrubby flatwoods, you want about 30% bare open sandy patches. Again, that's where they're going to cache those acorns. We want the scrub low. For some reason, they do not like that tall scrub. And you'll notice there's very few large pine trees in this area. Typically in the scrubby flatwoods, you want about 1 to 2 pine trees per acre. That's what the jays like, again, because of the predators. They don't want to be worrying about, is there a predator in that tall pine tree up there? They want to be focusing on caching acorns, producing offspring, and all the fun other things that they like to do.
The scrub jays do have a unique way of dealing with threats like birds and snakes. They take turns acting as lookout or sentinel.
So they'll find the tallest tree in their territory and they'll perch up in that, and then they're looking out for predators. So if they see a snake coming into their territory, they'll give out a certain call and all the jays will come down and swoop that snake out.
But the scrub jay is slowly disappearing. It is estimated that the population of jays has dropped a staggering 90% over the last 100 years. They were added to the federal threatened species list in 1987, and now scientists believe there may be less than 6,000 of these unique birds left in the world. All this while Florida's population has nearly quadrupled since the 1960s.
Why are we losing the scrub jays?
I would say the biggest reason we're losing scrub jays is loss of habitat. If we don't have the habitat, then there's no place for these jays to move into. These jays are a niche species, which means they won't live in any other type of habitat. So that's why it's important that these little pieces that we do have left, that we preserve and protect them and make them healthy for the jays.
At Oscar Sheriff, the park staff and volunteers go to great lengths to make sure that the scrub jays have a good place to live. They keep track of the birds by banding them, and they take a monthly census to keep track of what they're up to.
That way we can watch what the jays are doing, watch what the families are doing, so we can better make the habitat and provide better habitat for the jays if we monitor them.
One thing you notice when you visit the park is how friendly the birds are. They even came over to check us out.
Naturally, these birds are very curious. They want to know who's coming into their territory. Just like we saw when we parked the car and we came over here, the jays came over to us because they want to know whether we're friend or foe. They want to know if we're good or bad, because they always want to protect their territory.
Now they have flown away, so we passed the test.
We passed the test.
Okay.
We're the good guys.
Good,
so
good.
But Tony warns us not to feed the birds. Not only is it illegal to feed a threatened species, but it could disrupt the jay's breeding cycle and lower the chance of survival of the baby birds. It's been 2 years since there have been any fledglings at the park, but Tony is optimistic about this year.
We had 2 jays come into the park from other locations, unbanded jays. So we're hoping that some of our jays have a good year this year and that they do produce offspring.
In our ecological society, the scrub jays, how important are they for us? I know that we need to save them, but how does it affect us?
The Florida scrub jay is a symbol of, if we can't do what we can for the Florida scrub jay, then what are we going to do about the Florida panther? What are we going to do about all the swallowtail kite, all these other species that we have here in Florida?
We'll be right back.
Well, that was fun. Scrub jays certainly are amazing little birds.
Speaking of which, this amazing little bird is starving. Time travel is hungry business.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because next I wanted to revisit a great little restaurant that will go all out for your doggies.
Or your bird. Or your butterfly. Ooh, I hope they have nectar.
Critical Vet Care is guided by the belief that companion animals deserve state-of-the-art medical care and a kind and comforting environment. The courage of our patients, the loyalty of their human families, and the devotion of our referral veterinarians inspire our vision. It is sustained by the contributions of our compassionate, knowledgeable, and dedicated staff, and built upon a strong tradition of providing excellent health care for animals. To learn more, visit us online at www.criticalvetcare.com.
I don't know about anyone else, but for me, dogs are like my children. And whenever I have to leave them, I always get a puppy sitter.
It's true. I've sat for her dogs. I usually let them chase me around until they get tired.
Yeah, let them catch you once. Then they'll be full, too.
Oh, stop it, Bud. My boys would never eat Lou. Besides, he's too skinny. But there are times I would love to be able to take them along with me out on the town to shop, see friends, and to grab a bite to eat.
Oh, I know what show you want to go back to.
That's right, because there's at least one place I know that my boys are welcome, and that when they're there, they'll eat like kings.
Here we go.
After a long day running around at the park, you might be getting a little hungry, and so might your dog. So where do you go to grab a bite to eat out on the town?
Well, this afternoon, Terry, I decided to bring my best friend, Sawyer, and we are looking at the doggy dining menu here at Sam Snead's. Pepperoni pizza, canine sliders, bacon and eggs. Why did you come up with this idea?
This idea has been around Sam Snead's for about 3 years.
Terry Hansen is the general manager at Sam Snead's American Grill in the Southside Village.
The suggestions and idea for this new doggy menu came mostly from the staff. My wife and I are both dog owners, so we found a recipe book for some healthy dog biscuits made with whole wheat flour, some peanut butter, and some healthy ingredients. So we incorporated those ingredients with the ideas that staff came up with to give more of a healthy look to the doggy dining menu, rather than just feeding them a hamburger off of the table and whatnot.
Chef Carl McCandless helped develop the menu, which includes poached eggs among other fresh, healthy ingredients.
What do we have here?
This is canine sliders. They're going to be fresh biscuits made from just milk, egg, vegetable oil, and whole wheat flour. And it's going to be topped with our just Sam's Angus beef burger.
And here we have the biscuit.
That's just our biscuit du jour. That's just going to be a peanut butter based biscuit. They're made with whole wheat flour as well, and then no preservatives, just peanut butter, a little milk, that's about it.
I love it.
Yeah, no problem.
And my personal favorite,
That's the poached eggs and bacon strips. So yeah, just in case, a little poached egg for them, and then of course the bacon strips that all the dogs love.
what if they had a special request?
Oh, we'll be able to take care of whatever they need. If they want pepperoni with poached eggs or
Really?
a slider in the poached eggs, no problem. We'll take care of whatever they need.
Although they already have a diverse menu, Chef Carl says they're not opposed to changing it up.
Do you see this expanding?
I hope so, yeah, definitely. If it gets popular and it's bringing people out and they want to try new things, no problem. We can definitely expand on it and try different things.
And I noticed here that you have complimentary tap water for every pampered pooch.
We do. What you'll find here at Sam Snead's on the outside, if you're a dog owner, is that the pet will almost always get a beverage before the guest.
How about that?
'Cause
We like that.
We see the dogs, we bring the bowls out right away, and then we'll greet the guests after that. So dogs are king and queen here at Sam Snead's.
Well, we love it. Service is good, food is good.
Win-win.
It
It's
is a win-win.
We love our animals.
Okay, now that was a great restaurant.
You said it. Boy, am I stuffed.
Well, as long as we got this time machine, I'm gonna make a quick stop somewhere in time.
What? Where are we going?
You'll see.
Ooh.
I'll be right back.
Lou, where are you going?
Look, it's me as a baby. Wasn't I precious?
Lou, I don't think that's such a good idea.
A little Lou baby. Can I hold it?
Sure, here you go. Ah! What did you do?
Well, what are you throwing it at me like a hand grenade for?
I'm just kidding, buddy. This is the real me. That was just an egg from the store.
That's supposed to be funny? I thought I lost my best friend.
Lou, that's terrible. But it actually does remind me of another show I wanted to revisit. Sometimes we do have to say goodbye to our pets. And that can be pretty tough. But there are people out there who can help ease the pain and get us through those devastating times.
All right, here we go. You said I was your best friend.
Yeah, that's when I thought you were an omelet.
A little further down the road, we find another cemetery that offers services for our four-legged friends.
This D is such an idyllic, serene place. Where exactly are we?
We're at Companion Meadows and Gulf Pines Cemetery. It is a section devoted to people and their best friends after they die. If you want to be buried with your pet, whether it be a goldfish, a goat, whatever, you're more than welcome to come here.
Dee Roberts heads up Pet Passings and is quick to say how these animals touch her heart.
I'm not ashamed to say I'll cry faster when we pick up a dog than if we pick up a person.
Because you're a dog person.
Because I'm a dog person.
Yes.
Dee is also a licensed pet grief counselor, lending a sympathetic ear to people who have lost their best friends.
I'm an animal lover, always have been. And people who have never owned an animal don't realize what it's like to lose one. It's no different than losing a member of your family. And in this population down here, sometimes that's the only family that someone who has been left to live alone has.
One-on-one counseling is available, but Dee says some people find more solace with a support group.
And we meet together and nobody has to be afraid to cry. Sometimes people haven't had a pet die for the past 10, 12 years, come to the meetings and they still cry because you never get over that.
They take a little piece of your heart
Yes,
with
they
them,
do.
don't they?
Yes, they do. And there's and we also talk about getting another pet. Some people feel like they're betraying that dog or cat if they buy a new one, or they adopt a new one or whatever. But we tell them no, that there's still a little space in there to help the other one, and they'll give them a home like the one that you just had.
How do you counsel them when they say, should I get a dog now? I'm speaking mostly of dogs because
Right.
that's what we normally handle.
Right.
Should I get them right away or should I wait?
I say to them, what do you want to do?
There is no correct time.
There's no correct. They'll say, what do you do? I say, go out the next day. You know, I get another one. You do what makes you feel good. There's no etiquette in when you get another pet. What I do is I try to help people at their worst time. And I've lost a husband, I've lost parents, And that was a terrible time. But then you lose your dog and you're expected to just kind of poo-poo it. And I help people to realize you need to grieve because, you know, your tears are just memories in motion. You grieve for how much you love that dog. And if you love that dog, and you need to grieve. And there's nothing wrong with you if 6 months later you're still crying when you see a dog. There's nothing wrong with you. It's a tribute. They're your best friend, and you do for them what you wouldn't do for anybody else.
Pet Passings and their pet loss professionals can help you plan the perfect memorial for your furry friend. If you would like to learn more about their services or about companion meadows at the Gulf Pine Cemetery in Venice, Florida, visit kayspongard.com.
Well, it's nice to know there's a shoulder out there to cry on.
Oh, Lou, you can always cry on my shoulder. Wait a minute. Who's driving the time machine?
Don't!
Great, we could have wound up back in the prehistoric era.
Still ahead, a story that has taken the internet by storm. We'll introduce you to one inspirational pig next.
Okay, where to now, Marcia?
You know, we've time traveled back and seen a lot of the animals that have had an impact on us over the past year. But we've neglected some of the most obvious.
Penguins?
Werewolves.
Oh, you sillies. You too. My co-hosts, Bud and Lou, have done an amazing job on this show.
We have?
I think all this time traveling has made her tipsy. Quick, let's ask for a raise.
Settle down. Let's take a look back at one of Bud and Lou's first appearances, where we learn a little bit about how their unique friendship came to be.
Hello, folks. Hope you're enjoying this week's episode of Animal Outtakes.
We were going to show you footage of Marcia wrestling an alligator, but someone forgot to put tape in the camera.
Sorry. So instead, Bud and I will tell you a little bit about ourselves.
A story about a duck and a butterfly.
Yeah. Wait, duck? I'm not a duck.
Oh, what are you?
All this time we know each other and you think I'm a duck? I'm an ibis.
Okay, an ibis. Get a hold of yourself. You got something against ducks? Last week we showed you one of our baby pictures.
Then we were teenagers. We didn't really get along for some reason.
Louis Ibis, you put that poor little caterpillar right back where you found him.
Yeah, but then one Christmas, this big lug did something incredible.
Oh.
Now. You see, I was a little low on dough back then, if you know what I mean. And I couldn't afford a cocoon of my own.
So I bought him a cocoon. Big deal.
I still don't know how you could afford it, buddy.
I told the guy to put it on my bill.
Yeah,
I know. Actually, I had to use my nest egg. But, you know, I believed you could be a beautiful butterfly one day. And look at you now.
Aw.
So, you're an ugly butterfly.
I should get you a mirror. Well, I got what I want for Christmas. A good friend.
And I got an ugly butterfly. Merry Christmas, everybody.
What is an ibis anyway?
Well, it's sort of like a duck. Woo-hoo! Those two are just a delight.
Yeah, what a team.
Oh, yes, especially that bird guy.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever.
What a charmer.
Okay, so we certainly have seen a lot of unique animals over the last year, but there's one that really sticks out. He's a true internet celebrity with more than 2 million views on YouTube and over 100,000 followers on Facebook and Twitter.
Say no more, I know where we're going.
That's right, back to the show where we caught up with the pig known as Crispy Bacon.
And you thought I was a big ham.
All right, buddy, let's go.
Life changed for veterinarian Len Lucera nearly 2 years ago after an exam on a newborn piglet.
He was under a pound, so he was probably about the size of his little duck friend. He was brought into the clinic where I was working to be euthanized because he didn't have back legs and the owner wasn't able to care for him.
After examining him, Dr. Lucero determined that other than the issues with his back legs, the pig was in perfect health. So Len adopted the pig and gave him a home.
Nobody was in his corner, so I was his voice, and I spoke for him. So, and he's paid us back.
In fact, it only took a couple of weeks before this pig, dubbed Chris P. Bacon, became an internet sensation.
I said, there's got to be something I can do for this little guy.
And he fit in the palms of your hand
Oh,
at that point.
yeah, he was tiny. And when he was walking around, he was actually raising his butt off the air and taking a couple steps and then fall down. I said, there's got to be something. So I looked into some wheelchairs for dogs. But they're all big. Therefore, even one for a small dachshund is way too big for him at that time. So I said, I'm going to make it out of Connects.
Len took video of Chris testing out his new wheels and posted it on YouTube, and it went viral. To date, this video has more than 2 million views and counting. These days, Chris is sporting a new, larger set of wheels more fit to his growing body.
He's a year and a half.
He's a year and a half. What health is he showing at this point?
Oh,
Good health?
Oh, yeah, he is progressing great. Some of the key things that we look at, especially in pigs, is how's their appetite. That's the first thing that goes. When a pig gets sick, they stop eating. And a pig that's not eating, that's
a problem.
It's strange. Yeah, it's definitely odd. So we watch him closely, and he's just done so well.
What is his average day?
Oh, well, usually I wake up first. He's real quiet, and the second he hears footsteps, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. So, he gets fed before anybody gets coffee.
Well, that's really something, isn't it?
Yeah, if you don't feed him first, you don't enjoy your coffee. So.
And what do you feed him?
He eats a miniature horse and pony pellet. It's something that's high in fiber, and this way, try and keep his weight down. The only thing he gets aside from that is occasional grapes. I lead on that he gets a lot more grapes than he actually gets, but he just loves them so much.
Where does he sleep?
He has his own bed.
Of course.
Yeah, we've tried letting him sleep with us, but his hooves hurt.
Really? Does he kind of kick you a little bit?
And his fur is pokey. So, no, he can have his own. Yeah. So this way he gets his own bed, and he's got his blankets, his favorite stuff that he sleeps with. So
Chris P. Bacon and Len are capitalizing on their newfound fame, penning a couple of books already, and a film is in the works.
It's not really telling about his life and what all, day one to now. It's more of I'm Chris P. Bacon. I'm going to go on an adventure, and I'm going to do this. And I figured that an animation is much better because I'm a veterinarian and I get very few days off. So I figured this is the best way to, use him without having to drive him all over.
He does not know that he's handicapped, does he?
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't even know he's a pig.
Oh.
So for him, he's just, one of the family.
How has he inspired you as well as others?
Oh, geez, he has just been, he's actually opened my eyes to a lot of things that typically you would walk by without noticing. just how much happiness animals bring to everybody.
So if somebody does have a pet that is either deformed by birth, such as Chris was, or becomes paralyzed, what would you say to them? Bring them to their vet?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But not for euthanasia.
Right, to get assessed. Because a lot of times they may have an abnormality, born with an abnormality, but it's not a lethal abnormality. It's something that they can live with. We do all that we can, and that's really doing right by the animal, and I think that's just the best thing ever.
If you want to learn more about Chris P. Bacon, you can find all his adventures online at chrispbacon.org.
Well, that's it for this episode of Animal Outtakes.
Now, wait a minute, Lou. I'm supposed to say that.
Yeah, how do you know it's the end of this episode anyway?
Because the guy from Craigslist called and says he wants his time machine back. And besides, I'm starting to think I'd like to take another look at those used green pants anyway.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed looking back at some of our favorite moments from this past year. We certainly have had some entertaining times.
But that ain't nothing compared to the amazing shows yet to come.
Yeah, I wish we had a machine that would travel forward in time.
But we travel forward in time naturally.
Oh yeah. Then why are we looking for a machine?
I don't know. You think about that, Lou. Join us again next week for another outstanding animal adventure.